Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Arkhite Cardfight Vanguard deck profile. This is one of the two new decks from the latest Minerva Rising booster set. This and Shoji Doji were the two completely brand new decks that we got for Brentgate and Dragon Empire, and I figured I'd start with the deck that I'm actually building from the set, being the Arkhite Monster Alien deck, a deck that focuses in a very similar playstyle to Eva, setting up set orders for research cards in our order zone and using our main go-to grade 3 monster creator Arkhite to summon out these huge, rear guard monster units onto the field. It's a really awesome deck with some pretty awesome looking art style as well for all the different monster units. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the ride deck, our ride deck consists of not the grade 1 first, but the grade 0 short rest Arkhite. When rode upon, if you went second, draw a card. Next is the grade 1 monster soul searching Arkhite. When this unit is placed by riding from short rest Arkhite, search your deck for up to one research card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So our main go-to research card in the deck is Torrential Energy Research. With this card set up in the order zone, it gives us the playstyle to choose a monster and its card name from our drop and put it into the order zone. So that is basically the experimentation that we do on the monster units that we have in the deck. Our grade 2 is Sleeping Protector Arkhite. When placed by riding from Monster Soul Searching Arkhite, search your deck for a research card, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So with that, you just have two searches right then and there for your monster research cards. Very similar to the Eva play style of the deck, with our grade 3 being Monster Creator Arkhite, the main go-to grade 3. Before we get to the next grade 3s, we'll just go over the very important research order that I spoke of before in the deck, and that is Torrential Energy Research, with this card being our main go-to order that we search in the deck. When it's put into the order zone, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards with monster and their card name from among them, put them into your hand, and then put one of them into your drop zone and shuffle your deck. And then from the order zone, you can rest this card, choose a card with monster and its card name from your drop zone, and put it into the order zone. So this is the setup that I spoke of before using this order, and as long as you have the order to rest, you can choose to just keep placing those monsters from your drop zone into your order zone to then be set up with your main go-to grade 3 monster creator Arkhite. We're running 3 additional copies of this grade 3 along with the copy in the ride deck. When your rear guard with monster and its card name is placed, put a card with the same name as that card from your order zone on the bottom of your deck, and that unit gets plus 10,000 to end of turn. So this is the setup that you use for your order zone to give your monsters power on the field. And when this unit attacks, if your order zone has a research card, counterblast 1 and activate all of the effects below. If your order zone has 3 or more research cards, choose up to 1 of your rear guards with monster and its card name and put it into your order zone. And look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 unit card with monster and its card name from among them, call it to rear, and shuffle your deck. So this sets up another monster in your order zone just for you to then call out 1 more monster unit onto the field for you to get a multiple attack off with the deck. This is the research that Arkhite is meant to do in the deck, setting up the different monsters in your order zone just for you to go and call out brand new ones onto the field. And for the other grade 3s, I also run 4 copies of Volcano Monster Gokatera. With this card, when it's placed on rear, counterblast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards with grade less than or equal to the number of research cards in your order zone and retire it. So it's just retire power as long as you have the 2 that's at least a grade 2 or less that you're retiring. And on the rear guard, when this unit attacks, if your order zone has 3 or more research cards, this unit gets plus 5,000 till end of battle. So just more of a power up for this card. Also having the plus 5 if you potentially Persona Road as well, 28,000 power, or the additional plus 10 that you'll also get from Arkhite when you return the unit from your order zone back to the bottom of the deck. Some other grade 3 monsters that I run are 2 additional copies of Erosion Demon Monster. With this card on rear, when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, if your order zone has 2 or more cards, you may draw a card. If you drew a card, choose a card from your hand and put it into your soul. Now the soul charging power helps with our 1 unit we run, which is Reception Monster Wavy Loss, for its draw power that it provides to the deck. So I like to run 2 additional copies of this card. Some people like to run the additional research order for Eva. It's just you can increase the number of research orders you run. If you were to run that card in the deck, you could just replace these 2 copies of this card for that card. Moving on now to the grade 2s, another monster that I run in the deck is Windstorm Monster, Cyclogade. When this unit is placed on rear, choose a unit with monster and its card name from your drop, and you may put it into your order zone. And on the guard circle, if your order zone has 2 or more research cards, it gets shield plus 5,000, just making it a 10k shield, but this also just helps to set up other monster units from your drop zone into your order zone for you then just to place on the bottom of the deck and power up some of your other monsters on the field. Now, I also have 2 copies of One Who Peruses the Proto Galaxy. This is just more of a countercharge setup for the counterblast that you use with Arkhite. If you didn't want to run this card, you can always replace it for 2 more copies of Erosion Demon Monster, so you just have multiple copies of this card to utilize with the order zone. Moving on now to the grade 1s, I do want to run 4 copies of Reception Monster Wavy Loss. I just have 2 of the Erosion Demon Monster spots placed here with this card, but you definitely do want to run 4 of it when it's placed on rearguard. If you have a Vanguard with Arkhite in its card name, or Glitter with Eva in its card name on your Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. So just additional draw power with this card. And on the rearguard during your turn, if your Aura Zone has 3 or more research cards, it gets plus 5,000 power. So it's just a Soul Blast 2 to draw a card. It can help with the additional Soul Charge power that we use with our setup in the deck, being able just to build up more and more soul cards with our go-to Erosion Demon Monster as well, for then the additional plus 5 that can be also just when boosting another unit on the field. And then for the rest of the grade 1s, 3 copies of Detonation Mutant Bauble Mine for more countercharge power and soul buildup using this card after it boosted, and if your order zone has a set order, which should be the good majority of the time. And also 4 copies of the Sentinel of Choice, which is Violate Dragon. Now, there is a Monster Sentinel that came out in the Tamari Seto trial deck. If you wanted to run that in here, you can replace it for that. The only reason I'm not running it is the monster setup. It just helps for, calling out units onto the field. So it is an additional monster unit just by being able to have that monster and put it into your aura zone, then choose a monster from among them, and you call it to rearguard with Arkhite. There's really not an option to add it to your hand with these cards. Otherwise, if we had that searcher, you'd be able to at least add that monster unit to your hand, giving you a Sentinel search, which then I would definitely recommend running it over just the normal Sentinel in the deck. And for the trigger lineup, I'm going with the 7 critical for pressures, so 4 copies of Star Aggression Dragon and 3 copies of Cardinal Draco Barbazoned. If you have the critical with the Put into Soul ability, you can just replace the 4 copies of Star Aggression Dragon for 4 of that critical, and also 4 of the Draw Trigger Ameliorate Connector for the additional plus 5k shield that this card gives when placed on the guard circle, and just more hand consistency with the draws. And for the heals, 2 copies of Cardinal Prima Neblem and 1 copy of Recursion Obifold and Creaking World, with our over trigger of choice obviously being Eldo Breath for the double critical and power to all of your units currently on the field. Just massive pressure if you reveal this card after a critical trigger as well. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, this is one of the 2 new decks we received from the Minerva Rising booster set. I'll definitely plan on making a Shoji Doji deck as well for Dragon Empire, so look forward to it. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.